Look, I understand that. What I'm a little concerned about is why is the Catholic Church charging priests hourly rates to come over here and perform an exorcism? Well, I understand that. Yes, times are tough all around. But look, my producer's taken this computer in. There's nothing wrong with it, but some weird things have been happening, and I think we just need to do that. Call you back. Hello, everyone. Geriatric here with Gary, and this is the Mega Man 2 wrap-up. Basically, I decided at the end of these series to kind of do a wrap-up, talk about some things, and, talk about some stuff that we didn't really get time to address in the original playthrough. So, Mega Man 2. It came on the NES Classic system. Now, in preparedness of this, I also watched all the videos up to this point and did a little research. So, there's some interesting things. When Mega Man, the first one, came out, the sales were not that impressive. Not enough, especially in that day and age, to warrant creating a sequel. Basically, Nintendo told Capcom that, okay, you can work on a sequel if you want, but you have to work on other things. So, and a lot of the stuff on Mega Man 2 was actually stuff they wanted to do in the first Mega Man, but they couldn't due to cartridge restraints and stuff. One of the big improvements for Mega Man 2 was, of course, the energy capsule, which you saw me use, which refills your health bar. This was not included in the first Mega Man. And it's a great thing, especially when you start having bosses with various degrees of taking, your health down. If you get somebody who's half thing, you need something to immediately replenish, because then, if not, you're totally relying on the gamble of, well, am I going to defeat an enemy? Is he going to drop something I need? Mega Man 2 is considered the best of the series, and that's pretty impressive lineage. I mean, Mega Man itself went through a few sequels after this, and you had Mega Man X, which was kind of the same thing, but taking the story in a little bit different direction. And many people consider this to be one of the best video games of all time, and I mean, you could see why. It's the puzzle solving, where puzzles are created, where it's not just, okay, you're just going across and try to find a way to kill these enemies and then get to the boss. It was totally like, okay, you're in this situation here, how are you going to get around it? And the addition of, well, you get these different items from Dr. Light after you complete a certain amount of stages is very interesting, because there are some stages where you could not literally beat something if you did not have these items. The Robot Masters are very unique, which is something I love. In one of the Wily stages, there was a boss who was like a tank, and I said it was Gutsman. Gutsman was from the original one, but if you even hear the name Gutsman, you're kind of like, well, what are you? In this one, there is no such thing. Heat Man, Bubble Man, Woodman, Flash Man. If any of them, it's kind of Flash Man, because it's kind of like, well, what do you mean that he stops time? The password system was another addition that this game had, which I didn't have to use thanks to the improvements of the NES Classic Mini, where you can just save anything, which is such a great thing. I mean, I remember, this was, I mean, you young kids out there have no idea how wonderful it is to have a autosave, where you can save whenever you want, or there are designated save stations. Because and I think that was something that when we kind of got away from and went into the autosave and stuff, is you kind of could play for a little bit of time. But with this, it's like, okay, I gotta run because I gotta beat this guy, so then I can get a password and then I can beat the stage. So it kind of made you want to play the games longer, which I think is not a bad thing, One of the things I like to do with the YouTubers on the people I subscribe to is watch a series. I mean, yes, there are games that are one-shots, and I do them too, but I like to have a series, and especially where you just build and build and build on things. One of the things doing my research that I had totally forgotten about was there used to be a handheld Mega Man 2 game. To describe this, again, to you younger viewers, is there's nothing incompatible. Imagine like a screen where you could jump and shoot, and that was it. And you had to fight the bosses. And I remember that, and I was like, oh god, I remember that. I talked a little bit about the novelization, which I got at the Scholastic Book Club. And it was funny thinking about Mega Man 2. I remember another book I got, which is a series we might do, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Considered by many to be a very, very, very poor game. It's just, but you know what? Maybe we'll see it. But yeah, the novelizations were, as I said, it really showed you how big these things were. I mean, there were novelizations, there were spin-off video games, there was stuff in comic books, and that has kind of transpired nowadays, but now it's very selective. You have to be kind of huge in order to have that, where it was basically, at this time, it was like, okay, you have a video game, it's selling well, people know what it is, so let's make a comic book or a novel out of it. And as I said, thinking about it, the craziest thing is, how did you pitch that? A novelization of Mega Man 2. Yes, there is a story, but a very light story. No pun intended. It also made me think about Mega Man and in the cartoon series Captain N and the Game Masters, which was a cartoon series where a kid is drawn into the video game world of Nintendo to battle some of the villains, and Mega Man was one of the guys. He's actually, I think a screenshot from that was taken for the Rage episode of Mega Man. That's one of those things you can't find now. I'd love to see Captain N again. That was a kind of a crazy series. What do I like about this game? Pretty much there's nothing to fault the game on. It's interesting. Every stage has its challenges. As I said, the bosses are unique. The final run through Wily's castle is difficult, but it's doable. And you know, that's one of the things. A lot of games sometimes make things, okay, let's make this as hard as we possibly can. And that's fine. I mean, look, pick the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, or Bloodborne of your choice for just a game that is just hard and almost impossible. But the best games make, okay, this is hard, but you should be learning every time that you go through it, because then it teaches you, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I have to do at this point. These are the items I need. What didn't I like about the game? Well, this might be a shocker for all of you out there, but I didn't like that second to last stage right before the Robot Master boss rush. As I said, I was watching this, as I said, in preparedness, and I still got angry looking at it. I might put, as I said, once I edited all the stuff together, I might put out, blooper outtakes, because I mean, if you're when you're a kid, you're angry. Oh, you're like, God, this level's hard and everything else. But when you're recording and you get this, and suddenly you look at the timer and you've been like, I've been recording for like 30 minutes here, and I have nothing. I'm not going to make you guys sit through a 45 episode where 40 minutes of it is me dying in the same part and me screaming. Sometimes that's entertaining, but so yeah, that level. And as I said, what I didn't like about the level, because it wasn't that it was frustrating. It had a very definite solution to it, but it's just there were so many things put in your way that even if you learned, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this strategy to get through, then it becomes tedious. And video games should never be like that. It should never be tedious. I mean, I know, like, especially if you talk about a role-playing game like Final Fantasy or, The Witcher, where you have to go out and farm stuff and get, equipment. Yes, that's kind of a drag, but it's kind of fun. But this was just over and over and over again on the off chance you might, fail. So, what's the final verdict on Mega Man 2? It's a great game. It is one of the greatest games ever. It was fun to play. I was smiling. I know you couldn't see me. And that was kind of a choice, because I could put a camera where you could see my reactions as I'm playing, but I kind of looked at it like, if this was original, if YouTube and Let's Plays existed back in this day and the technology was there, you wouldn't have face cams. You would just have the game. And as I said, that's why in the one-shots I have, you do see my face and my reactions. So, yeah, this was a great game. It was a great start to the NES and a kind of a great start to this channel. I mean, just kind of showing you. So, what's coming up? Tomorrow we're going to do another one-shot. I don't know what the game is yet. There's a lot of good choices out there. But I do want to say this real quick, just as a little aside. One of the coolest things with doing a channel like this, and even on my the old channel, was sometimes you get in contact with people that you just never thought you would. And one of the things was Cloudtopia. The developers, tweeted me, said thanks, and then they tweeted my link and put it up on their page, and that was just really cool. The other one was Donuts and Justice, where the guy actually contacted me and said, thank you, great video, and actually watched it. And, I mean, that's just amazing to me. That, why the developers who created these games actually are coming and saying, hey, I like what you did. So, that's really gratifying. So yeah, it's a great start. So, as I said, we got another one-shot tomorrow. And then Thursday, it's the big one. It's Star Wars, Rogue One movie review. And if you're a little confused about that, it's always on Thursdays I go and watch midnight movie, even though it's like done at 7 or 8 or something, and I come back and just report on it. I just literally will pick whatever's out there. If something's out there, I'll go see it. So never think, well, there's nothing out. Unless there is literally nothing out, then I'll come up with something else for you guys on Thursday. But yeah, so Mega Man 2, great game, great start. And then, as I said, after Thursday, we start another series, and who knows what it's going to be. I gotten a suggestion on one of the videos of what I should play, and might be doing that. So, this is Geriatric. This is Gary. Thank you so much for being here, and watching, and commenting, and this is Geriatric telling you to keep it retro. What's that, Gary? Yes, Mega Man 2 is probably one of the best games. Yes, unfortunately, if you're new to this is Gary. He's my producer, who, now that I have my own channel, I have to have him on all videos.